What's up, duelists? It's been a very long time since I've done a market watch, and Phoenixian Cluster Amaryllis just got announced for a reprint today, so that's what we're doing. Of course, Gigaplant videos coming soon. The 12 Days of Teledad will be wrapping up soon. I know, well, well beyond the finishing, but today we're doing market watch, and RBET LA is coming up this week. Also, if you guys are competing in Edison format, RBET Las Vegas and RBET Chicago signups are open. You can find info on them in the description below. Make sure and check out those links, pertinent links. If you want to come to RBET Las Vegas, it's the last weekend in April. And if you want to come to RBET Chicago, it's September 20th. So definitely check that out. They're going to be massive, once-in-a-lifetime events. So definitely, if you like Edison format, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh, come through, especially if you've been buying nice cardboard like we're going to be going over in this video to show off to all your friends. Let's go ahead and start things off by looking at Amaryllis. So this is probably going to be one of the last days we see it at this price. People might start listing it, might have started listing it already, but it looks like they're going for about $40 for moderately played. Let's see. I don't know if people like moderately played or near mint, but let's just select near mint just because that's usually what people prefer. Near mint unlimited is going for about $53. I expect this to tank. I expect this to go way lower. The only card I could maybe compare this to that got to this height was Gaia Plate or Black Brutdrago or something like that. And both of those, upon reprints, went pretty low. They went below $10. So hopefully you'll be able to get your Phoenixian Cluster Amaryllises for very cheap very soon. And you're also going to get nice looking copies. I believe they're going to have the quarter century rares. So some really sparkly Amaryllises, which is going to look super nice alongside maybe like your quarter century Lone Fire Blossoms, if that's a rarity that you're super into. This deck is super fun. It's a deck that I've been wanting to build in paper for a very long time, but I could not justify the $150 to $200 price tag buying a set of Amaryllis. So I personally am very excited by the announcement of this reprint. I think it's going to be a really cool deck to do a video on. I have a bunch of different ideas with Amaryllis that I haven't been showing you guys because, and once again, I just don't want to like super promote a card that's ridiculously expensive. But now that it's going to be affordable, it's all bets are off. We're going to be doing a lot of Amaryllis stuff in the future. So shout out the True Party King, etc. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next card here. Amaryllis getting a reprint. Thankfully, it's been, I think, 3 years we've been asking for one. So really cool that we finally got one. And shout out Konami for reprinting cards for its players. I think that this is one thing that the company does really, really well, is that if the players are like, oh man, we can't afford this card, Konami usually listens. And even if it's 3 years later, they will get you that reprint. There are other games where cards are never reprinted, so got to be grateful for the dubs when we can get them. I mean, if the company's printing us the cards, that's all we can really ask for, especially at affordable prices like they have been lately, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and hop to Magical Android. This is another card that hasn't been reprinted in a really long time, and it's starting to get really up there. For the dual terminal, it's about $30, which is crazy because it's a dual terminal common. There's actually 4 printings of this card, surprisingly, but they're all about $20 or more. Roughly, I think that, generally speaking, this card should not be worth this much. I think if this card got a reprint in like an Astral Pack or whatever they're called, tournament packs, it would be pennies. Because you only need one to play Edison format. Only very few decks that don't really see play 2. And it's just, I don't know. $20 isn't too bad, obviously, but obviously I'm coming from the perspective of someone who was building Edison decks in paper before Edison was popular. So, you could build an entire Edison deck in max rarity back in the day for like $80, $100. And now you can hardly get like 3 of your extra deck monsters for that much. Magical Android definitely needs a reprint. I would not hold on to these. If you have a bunch of them, I'd probably sell them or try to sell them or offload them for a little bit less, like maybe list them for 15s. But I think holding these is a little silly. Because it's a very likely reprint. Like, they've been reprinting everything that needs to be reprinted, including Amaryllis. So yeah, just definitely don't hold them. Flood the market. Keep your one that you need for your deck, and yeah, get rid of them. Do not hold. That's my advice. Royal Oppression is another one that I was looking at recently because this is a card that I actually think is insane. I don't know. The more I play with this card, the more I realize how unbelievably broken it is. I've been playing it lately in fairies, and oh my gosh, like I like it in every matchup. Straight up, if I have a Shining Angel and a Royal Oppression in play, I feel like I can't lose. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like a god with this card in play. It has several reprints. It has 6 printings. Yet each one of them is roughly over $10. Let's see this champion pack. It says $6.99. That doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, because it's a Korean listing. I was throwing it off. Yeah, $15 for the champion pack common. That's heinous. The fact that this card doesn't really have a good foil. The Gold Series one looks really bad. The Gold Series 3 and 4 are some of the worst foiling I've ever seen on cards, next to like Maximum Gold. So that doesn't really count. I don't really count that one. And you can tell like the popularity of this one, it kind of reflects it. Like it's cheaper than the common because it looks worse than the common. That's like the general consensus on it. So if you need cheap copies, the Gold Series, maybe you might be able to find a Legacy of Darkness one for, look at this, Near Mint First Edition for $10. Oh, that's not bad. Honestly, that's not bad. How's this guy's rating? 99.7. Let's read his negative feedback. Let's see. Card I received was not near mint. All right, word up. So maybe it's not near mint for $10, but hey, $10 for a Royal Oppression could be a lot worse. Still would be nice if this card was like $1 because it's just like a random trap card. It's not like an iconic card or anything. You know, I wouldn't even be mad if cards like Stardust Dragon were kind of chase cards, but the fact that the chase cards are like Amaryllis and Royal Oppression, it's like, that's so weird. It's like such a weird, it's like the cards that are the least likely to be reprinted end up being the cards that are worth the most. And so as a result, like the chase cards end up being like these ridiculously niche like cards that only have one printing. Speaking of which, Nettles only has one printing from what I've heard, which is crazy because this card is popping off in the new Gigaplant deck, and we've seen a rise in price. I mean, this is a little bit of a penny stock here, but going up 10 cents in the last few days is pretty high. You'll see it reaching about 50 cents. I could see this card being like a $3 common, just because it only has one printing. I also don't think that this card is going to get reprinted anytime soon because it's so cheap already. So a little bit of a penny stock. Nettles, it is necessary for the Gigaplant deck, and I do think that deck is here to stay. I am going to make a video on it shortly and show off some of the stuff that I've learned while playing the deck and show off a few of the other things that I like about the deck. Some things that I don't like about the deck, but overall I do think that it is a strong deck, and I do think it is here to stay. So Nettles, definitely a potential for a penny stock if you guys are into that sort of like silly sort of game. And if you don't have your Nettles, just get it now because it'll probably be like $3 in the future, and you'll be mildly annoyed that you'll have to pay $3 for a Nettles, that type of shit. Next card, Trap Dustshoot. This card had a reprint announced already, and it's still a lot. But I think that's because the reprint hasn't come out yet. I don't know. And people still need Trap Dustshoots. Like, tournaments are still happening in the meantime. So obviously, like the Amaryllis reprint, the Trap Dustshoot reprint, they're gonna affect the price obviously when they happen, like when the reprints come out. But what's interesting is that the demand is still high even before the reprint. So like the prices aren't bottoming out. So it doesn't look like this was inflated. Like this doesn't look like it was overinflated and now people are trying to dump their copies. It looks like that was actual real demand for Trap Dustshoot, and it's holding this sort of $10 price tag. Let's see, Pharaonic Guardian commons are probably a little bit lower. Yeah, it did tank a bit. Okay. It went from like 12 to like 7. Okay. Yeah, so the reprint is helping out the prices. You can get an unlimited one for about $7. That's pretty good. I mean, that's not bad. It's cheaper than it was. I think it'll go even lower once the reprint comes out. I could be wrong about that, but I think it will, personally. Especially because the reprint is a foil. And as of right now, you don't really have a great option for the foil Trap Dustshoots. Little known fact, the Champion Pack Trap Dustshoots, a lot of them have a print error where either the top or the bottom is like fucked up. So like, it's pretty hard to get a nice looking copy of it. And even when you do that, like a super rare has never really been like a good looking rarity in my opinion. It doesn't even look as good as I think the dual terminal common does. I think the dual terminal common looks a little bit better. These are actually a lot higher than I thought they would be. $36. I got a messed up one for like $20 a little while ago, but I've been meaning to get a nicer looking one, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, on to the next Market Watch. Black Brutdrago, another card that is on the rise due to the Gigaplant deck, and you can see this massive spike. This card has been bought out before. This is a card that was up, tanked, and is now going back up again because people are realizing that it's still good. Turns out there's no listings, so it's completely bought out on TCG Player. Oh, I have near mint selected. Let's see if we clear the filters. You can get a mod play for $50. That's crazy. Don't do this. If you need one of these and your friend has one, just borrow it. I think $50 for a mod play card is a scam. Unless you absolutely need it for a tournament and you're confident you're going to win the tournament. Not worth it. I'd rather just get the light play first edition if anything, but, you know, that's tough. This card is good. This card is very good. It's very similar to Scrap Dragon in that even if it's solemned or oppressioned, you'll still get its effect, which is kind of interesting. Also, the discarded Gemini to pop something does come up here and there. You can use it to like pop Black Whirlwind by discarding an extra Gigaplant, that sort of thing. It's actually one of my favorite ways to play the Gigaplant deck is to just spam Brutdrago. In my list that I was playing before the Marcus and ProStorm list came out, and the other list, I think there was another list that top 8'd that's been going around that's a little bit different. It plays like Morphing Jar and shit. But before those two lists came out, I was playing one with like Triple Soul Exchange in the main, and honestly, Brutdrago's really strong, especially in that list because you're just trying to play this like grind game where you like make a sticky board over and over and over again. And because of the soul exchanges, you can play through oppression really easily. And making Brutdrago comes up more in that build because you're not doing the super solar dandelion thing. More so, you're just kind of like getting a synchro here and there, and then like they blow it up, but then you get the Gigaplant back, and then you recreate the synchro again. It's kind of just like a resource loop. And I think that that's a more resilient way to play the deck. Personally, for myself, I actually quite like playing the deck that way a little bit more than the other way because it's simpler. It's less complicated, and it's still really strong. So yeah, that's that. What else are we going to be looking at? So this is a really good card. I just think once again it's a little overpriced for a one of in one deck. It does only have one printing, but like if I compare this to Amaryllis, this should be worth about a third what Amaryllis is worth. This is just like my brain thinking, right? Because Amaryllis is played in a niche deck, right? But it's a 3 of. And it's a super rare that only had one printing. And Amaryllis is settled around 50 to 60. Brutdrago is played in a niche deck, but it's only played as a 1 of. So you don't need the full 3 copies. So technically speaking, since the situations are exactly the same, except you only need 1 Brutdrago and you need 3 Amaryllis, I think the buyout is all hype. I think if you have a Brutdrago, you should sell it now. I think the price will eventually settle around $30 until it's reprinted. Personally, that's my prediction. Obviously, I don't know what to say about Diamond Hands people or like people buying up and holding like 500 copies of these. Like, sure, whatever. One asshole with a bunch of money could prove me wrong, but I think generally speaking, this card is worth, given its circumstances, $20 to $30. Super rare with only one print, but it's a 1 of in a niche deck. Yeah, $20 to $30 in my opinion. All right, next cards. Let's look at some of the high-end stuff. Let's see how that's holding up. Stardust Dragon. Let's see if there's any high-end Stardust Dragons that are worth a lot of money. So this is the ultimate rare. It's kind of a chase for a lot of people. Let's go ahead and set the filters to near mint, just because that's kind of like what people tend to care about. You can get a near mint unlim for $135. It's actually not too bad for like a shiny Stardust Dragon. Looks like the near mint first editions are going for about $600. So it's about, I mean, I don't know if people are buying them at this price is the thing, but the last time I checked, they were listed around $300, and now there are no listings around $300. So, yeah, maybe a long-term hedge. This card is gorgeous. Let's go back to the Stardust Dragon page. Stardust Dragon. Let's see what else we got. Ghost Rare Stardust Dragon. This is the near mint filter, about $400 for an unlimited. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good price. I mean, if you have one. This is not good if you're trying to buy one. But yeah, it's worth quite a bit of money for unlimited. And then a near mint first edition is listed at $1,800. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Like to put it into perspective, like you lived, if you live in America, you lived through one of the worst like plagues in the last like 2 centuries, and this is almost double what the government gave you to to survive a plague. So that's quite a bit. I mean, unless you were on unemployment or whatever. But I'm talking about like the stimulus check specifically. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny that Stardust Dragon is worth that much now. You could have bought these for like very, very cheap. Back in like 2020, right before I started posting videos, these were going for like $80, like straight up. So the fact that you could have fucking, what is this? Not 100x. What is it? Like 30x your money. That's pretty crazy. Not 30x, 25x. I don't fucking know. In 3 years because of the Edison boom. Man, some people eating good. I'll say that much. All right, Black Rose Dragon. Got to check out the big boys. The dragons that go in every extra deck. This guy's got a Starlight Rare too. The Starlight Rare is kind of lower ever since the QCR. It just continues going down, which is nice because I actually quite like the Starlight Rare. I love the Secret Rare naming. I hate the QCR naming. So I really like the Starlight Rare foiling. I think the Starlight Rare foiling looks pretty good, but I really, really like the Secret Rare name with the Starlight Rare foiling. So, 165 is still a little bit more than I would pay for it, but if this ever drops to like $80, like I'd pick one up. They look fucking gorgeous. Let's look at some of the older prints. People definitely prefer the older prints of Black Rose Dragon. Ultimate Rare. Looks like Near Mint Unlimited for about 108, 110, 125. Let's say like 120. The first sets are probably sold the fuck out, right? Oh, actually not that bad. This is a German one for 400, first edition. Let's view details. It's got a nice little print line right there through the center. This is a terrible photo. I also don't love the naming. Let's see. PSA 9 Unlimited. Okay, Near Mint first edition for 800. That is even more than Stardust, surprisingly. I wonder why. I wonder why Black Rose is more than Stardust. I know people like Black Rose more. It's like kind of a cult favorite. But Stardust, you can play multiples of in Edison. You can only play one Black Rose Dragon. Maybe it's because Crossroads specifically had like print issues. I've heard Crossroads of Chaos is like one of the harder sets to get. Speaking of which, Gladiator Beast Radiari, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, like even Ultimate Plagues, like first edition Ultimate Plagues are like $1 million. 675. Hold on, let's see. 400 for a Near Mint first Ulti Plague. So the first Ulti Plague from Crossroads, it probably has something to do with like the Crossroads first edition. I know that there's a deal with that, but I'll take this as an opportunity to pivot over to Gladiator Beast Radiari. Let's see, Radiari. There's only 2 printings and he's reaching $32. So if you're a Glad player and you don't already have these, that's rough. And you know it's rough. You know it's a demand, like a high demand, when the shitty rarity is like approaching the price of the good rarity. Like that's how you know it's a problem. Like look here, like you can get a Secret Rare Unlimited Near Mint for $44, right? And then for how much? What is this? Near Mint Unlimited $32. So it's only $12 difference for the high rarity. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's how you know like this card is in high demand. And even a reprint, if the reprint was like low key, if it was like I know that there's some Gladiator Beast support in Modern, so maybe they're gearing up to reprint this guy, but if the reprint was low key, there's still high demand for this card. And Gladiator Beast decks are playing 2 of him now because he's obviously so fucking insane. I mean, Graveyard Hate is like, it's hard to come by in Edison format. And in-engine Graveyard Hate especially is like, it's very strong. It's very, very strong. And this card, it also plays nicely against Bottomless Trap Hole because he's under the threshold, so he'll still let you attack and tag out under Bottomless Trap Hole, which is actually like normally weak stats is like a bad thing, right? But in Edison format specifically, being weaker than Bottomless Trap Hole actually isn't that bad because it'll allow you to get the Gladiator Beast effect off, which is really nice. So yeah, I think that this card desperately needs a reprint, and maybe they're posturing up to reprint it. But it's rare you see like Glads that aren't like Heraclinos specifically reprinted alone. Was Heraclinos reprinted recently? I feel like it was. We're just going to look it up. I feel like it was. It wasn't. This is another interesting one to me because like the low rarity Heraclinos, the super rares are like $7, but the high rarity ones are not that expensive. They're like, I don't know, $70 for near mint first edition. That's pretty cheap. Test Tiger, is this card been reprinted recently? It has. It was in the quarter Century Bonanza. So it looks like they're willing to reprint the pieces of the Gladiator Beasts without reprinting them all together, which is really nice. Just because, like, not all of them need a reprint. Like, we don't need a fucking Rediari. Or not, we need a Rediari, but we don't need, like, a Laquari. You know what I mean? We don't need an Quest. We just needed, like, Test Tiger and probably Heraclinos soon. I know that there's a Ultimate Rare Heraclinos, I think in the OCG that they just reprinted recently. Could be wrong about that. So maybe they're gearing up to do it here. I don't know. But yeah, Test Tiger, pretty affordable. Glads, despite Rediari, still one of the more affordable decks because you don't need that much of an extra deck. Like, you don't need Android. You can actually play Glads without Trap Dustshoot. I don't know if I'd recommend that. I personally have tried it with and without. It's not too bad without it. You can play it without Royal Oppression. So a lot of the more like common like staple cards that are pretty expensive, you don't need for Glads. So one or two time purchase for, you know, maybe you get a messed up Turbo Pack Rediari, you spend like $40 on that. The rest of your deck's going to be pretty cheap. So that's pretty nice. I wonder if there's any other Gladiator Beast cards that are weirdly priced. Let's see. Obviously all the chase versions, you know, surprisingly, Turbo Pack Laquaris are pretty low, but like I said, super rare is never really the rarity that people really want. I've actually seen a lot more people favor these secret rare legendary collection Glads, and actually they're actually doing pretty good numbers here. I mean, $15, $14 for the E-Quest, and then $10 for the Darius, and then $7 for the Bestiari. Like, I think the secret rares are kind of cooking, and then you've got this quarter century Geyseris, which I believe you can also get the. If you can get a quarter century, then you can probably get the other printings of it, right? Is there a secret rare printing? That's what I'm looking for here. You could basically get the whole deck in like a swag, like secret rare, which looks pretty cool. A secret Marmillo. There's a secret Secutor, secret Hoplimus, secret Laquari even. Actually, maybe Laquari does need a reprint. The rare's like $3-4. The common's like $3-4. Maybe this deck is not as cheap as I thought it was. Who knows? I wonder where the other Geyseris is. Let's see. Duelist Saga Geyseris. It was reprinted in Light of Destruction. Huh. Let me look this up. Hold up. Geyseris. So you got Starfoil, which is obviously the max rarity because it's a prize card. Then you've got the quarter century, which people tend to like a lot. Okay, here's the platinum secret rare. So you can't get like the ultimate and stuff, but let's take a look at the platinum secret rare Geyseris. That looks really nice, actually. I like the purple on the platinum secret rare. The only thing I really hate about these, again, is the name. They're illegible, and personally, why I would never use these is because of the name. That's literally the only reason. I actually love the way the card looks, but the name itself it just doesn't do it for me. But if you're looking for a cheap copy that like looks flashy, I mean, this looks really good. And if you don't care about reading the name as much as I do, I care because like I want to be able to like show the card on camera, and I want the name to show up on camera. But obviously that doesn't matter to most people. So that looks kind of sick, actually. Looks pretty nice. All right, what else was in quarter century Bonanza that we could look at? I'm curious. I really did not have like a layout for this video. It's a quarter century Stratos for $65. That's a scam, dude. That's a scam. There are so many better looking Stratos. Heavy Storm looks interesting. That looks kind of cool. Once again, the name, dude. Like, you can't even read it. Oh, that's so frustrating to me. It's like so close to being the sickest thing ever. The Red Eyes Darkness Metal too. Fuck. There's a Jinzo? Oh shit, I should get one of these. I didn't even notice there was a Jinzo. The Summon Skull one looks really cool. I've seen it in person. I've actually cracked a couple packs of these just for fun. This is a really fucking cool set, by the way. The quarter century Bonanza. Because like there's very few like cards that you, if you don't have much of a collection, like the Absolute Zero looks kind of gas too. That looks fucking cool. If you don't have much of a collection, like I don't really collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards like that. I do have my decks and I have my staples and stuff, but I don't have like a crazy collection or anything outside of a few like really rare cards. Cracking a few packs of this is cool because there's like very few misses. I pulled the Slifer the Sky Dragon in one of the packs and I was like, this is sick. Like, what the fuck? The Slifer is probably the best looking of the three gods with the alt art. I still don't love the alt arts. I would have much preferred if it was like the original arts or whatever, but it is what it is. Quarter century JD to match your quarter century Christias. You could do something there. It's like Lightsworn or whatever. Christia Sworn. Oh, Thunder King was reprinted. I didn't know that. Maybe look up Thunder King. It's a card I've been playing a lot of lately. It's Thunder King Rai-Oh. And been impressed. What can I say? I've been impressed. Bryonics in here? What the fuck? They were cooking. They were cooking when they made this set. This is actually kind of gas, I'm not going to lie. If you're a retro Yu-Gi-Oh fan, this set is really cool. A lot of just like nostalgic hits to the fucking dome, dude. Quarter Century Magician of Faith. It doesn't look that good, actually. I feel like the orange effect monster background doesn't really love the quarter century foiling. But I feel like the white and the purple of the synchro and the fusions looks really nice with the quarter century. And the blue of the links, if you play modern, looks pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and look up Substitute. That was a card that was reprinted recently. Yeah, it's like $1. Fucking shit. Good. This card should be worth about $1. That's awesome. If you want to play frogs for some reason, go off, King. Go off. What was the card I was going to look up? I was going to look up something. Let's go back to the quarter century shit. There was something in here that I wanted to look up. I can't remember what it was. Should we go high end? Should we go low end? What should we do? Oh, Thunder King. That's what it was. Yeah, let's look up Thunder King. This card is not very good in Edison format. It's not. But it has some areas where it really shines. And I think in those matchups, like specifically like Dragon Turbo, Gigaplant, Blackwings, it's pretty good against Glads too. So against those like 4 matchups specifically, it's really good. Against the Reiko decks, it's not so good. And against the Frog decks, it's kind of a joke. But against some of the Frog decks, it's not bad because they like to synchro a lot or they like to use Rhoda to get Stratos. So it kind of does something in that regard. I actually don't hate Thunder King right now as the meta gets a little bit faster. I think it might have a home in more and more decks as just a way to layer interaction and apply pressure. Plus, like if you're just sick of getting sacked by Dark Arm Dragon or like JD or something like that, just play more Thunder Kings. It just gives you an extra negate for that sort of thing. Yeah, generally speaking, like I think it's not the best in a format that is currently dominated by Sirocco and, you know, Vayu activations and Greffer and that sort of thing. But if you can defend it appropriately, it becomes a very serious threat. I think it's really good with cards like Bottomless Trap Hole. It's really good with cards like Honest, and it's really good with hand traps in general, like DD Crow. Because then, like, let's say you summon a Thunder King, and your opponent like tries to activate Vayu or Treeborn, and you just DD Crow it. Then they're dealing with this Thunder King that's like a pretty strong threat, and they have no way to really like push through it. Helps against zombies. That's another matchup where it's pretty good. It obviously is insane against machines, Gear Town decks, any of those types of decks. So it has its moments where it really shines, and I've been playing it lately to middling success, I'll just say. I'm still on the fence about it, but good to see that it's kind of affordable. $5 for a common. Can't really complain about that. Honestly, I feel like once you get to like $10 for a common, that's when you're like, okay, what the fuck? Where's the reprint? But I recently got a high-end reprint in the quarter century rare, and the Platinum Secret. The Platinum Secret is dirt cheap. It's like $4. What the fuck? That's a really good price. That's a really good price. All right, moving on. Tragodia. Is that one of the ones that I wanted to look at? I just wanted to look at this because I have an ultimate rare. I wanted to see how much it was. It looks like it's flatlining a bit. Around 140. It's not bad. It's a Spanish one, 140, French one, 140. I think mine's French. The French ones look nice. The Euro print looks nice. There's a new quarter century rare in the Bonanza. Honestly, not much needs reprint except for like some weird niche cards. I think one of the cards that I talked about recently was Karma Cut. This card is starting to get to the point where it's like gonna need a reprint because the common is pushing $5. Like I said, $5 for common is like fine, but then once it hits that like $10 for common, you're like, okay, where's the reprint? Like that, I do not want to spend $10 on a common. But when you look at the high-end printings of this card, like if we have English near mint, clear listings, there's no near mint listings for Dark Revelation 4 supers. And then for the ultimate rares, even more. I actually think this... Oh, hold on. I got to put the filter back on. Cool. All right. Near mint. Near mint on limbs. Near mint first edition for $87. Sorry, my phone is blowing the fuck up. I got to mute this shit. $87 for a fucking Karma Cut. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a Karma Cut believer. I think Karma Cut is going to be a big deal in the format moving forward. I think this card is really, really good. Like, this card, it single-handedly invalidates matchups. Like, if you have trouble with frogs and you just start swapping some of your back row for Karma Cuts, you'll notice that your win rate against frogs instantly goes, like, to the moon. You're instantly like, wow, this deck that I was struggling with, I am no longer struggling with. And it still does what the other back rows do, obviously, if you can support the discard. But it just does another thing that's very specific. Like, I've played against someone who was using Karma Cut, and I was playing dragons, and I went for Future Fusion, and at the point in the game, I was going for double red eyes. So I sent 2 red eyes, and then I brought one out, and then they Karma Cut my red eyes, and it hit the one in my grave too, and it kind of cooked me. So, if it's a card that allows you to play through some pretty busted situations, this is one of those cards, and I think this card is good in frogs, it's good against frogs, it's good in plants, it's good in Vayu, it's good in dragons, if you play dragons. I haven't tested it in Blackwings yet. I feel like Blackwings is the one deck where you might not need it, because Blackwings already kind of smokes frogs. From my experience, but I do think that Karma Cut's crazy. It's really, really good. Just the ability to like banish anything. It's kind of like the SP Little Knight of this format. Banish anything, even at -1, is still really fucking strong. Like, how many times you be going second, your opponent goes like, okay, Black Whirlwind, Summon Shura, pass, and you look at your hand, you have a bottomless trap hole, and you're like, all right, that's cool, but I need to kill this Shura that's right in front of my face. Or, like, even better yet, like, your opponent goes, like, summon Sangin or summon fucking Substitute, and you're like, how do I deal with this shit? My bottomless doesn't do anything here. It's just going to get popped. And you wish you had Karma Cut instead. Or in a lot of cases, like, you'll have, like, a Malicious in your hand because you summon Stratos. Or you'll have, like, an Alias in your hand because you summon Stratos. And Karma Cut, it's free because you got a discard picked up there. So, or a Machina Fortress, that's free. There's a lot of different decks this could slot into. I think this is one of the best cards, and I do expect to see the price go up, just because there's only 6 printings, similar to like Royal Oppression, Trap Dustshoot, but you can play more copies of this than you can play of Trap Dustshoot and Royal Oppression, and I think that this actually slots into more decks than Royal Oppression specifically. So I do expect to see this go up, and I do expect this to need a reprint. So if you don't already have copies of this, I'd say get it, pick them up. I actually don't own them. I need to pick them up at some point, but maybe after this video, I'll do a little bit of TCG player looking around. All right, moving on. Next thing. I do think Karma Cut will go up. Mask of Restrict. This is a card that I think is really good right now for a lot of reasons. And the cheapest copies are like $4. So another kind of similar situation. I think this is a top 10, top 5 sideboard card in Edison right now. Like, straight up. Completely stops a lot of decks, namely Gigaplant and Frogs. Some variants of frogs. Now, Hero Frogs doesn't have as hard a time, but some variants of frogs, like the Fishborg versions and the like the Burn versions, some of the other versions, they really struggle with this card. They basically can't play the game if it's in play. Completely stops Substitute, completely stops the Monarchs, completely stops Enemy Controller and Soul Exchange. So it's like a large percentage of their cards get completely stopped. I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of like 25 to 50% of their deck is completely shut off by Mask of Restrict. And a floodgate that does that sort of thing is very unique, because it also like can come in versus Gigaplant, and then, okay, Lone Fire can't be used, Super Solar can't be used, once again, Soul Exchange can't be used, Titanial can't be used if it's already in play, Stardust can't be used if it's already in play. So Mask of Restrict can help you answer resolve boards there. It can help you in different matchups. It has like weird moments where it's like decent. You could even argue to main deck a copy of this depending on your metagame. Because it prevents Deck Devastation Virus and Icarus Attack as well, which is interesting. I wouldn't recommend maining it, but you could, and it might do some work. It's one of those cards that, like, every time I draw it in a post-board game, I'm like, man, this is nasty. And then I think to myself, I'm like, man, what if I just main this card? Like, It's kind of nasty, right? Shut off Caius, the most played monster. Hello, like maybe that's kind of worth it, you know. But yeah, I think this card is very good. I think it's very, very good. I think more and more decks are gonna be siding it. Even decks that are hurt by it are gonna side it just because of how much it like cucks certain decks. It just fucking destroys them. Yeah, big Mask of Restrict fan. Yeah, $4 seems about right for 7 printings. How much is the Ultra first? That's what I'm curious about. 63. That's the max rarity. Now these Ultra first, these to me are gorgeous. They look so good. There's only one Master Restrict that I think looks better than this, and I'll show it in a video later. A little bit of a surprise Master Restrict that I'll show looks better. But this one, it looks gorgeous, and it also has the really, really funny text where it says, no matter what the situation, neither player can offer any monster as a tribute. And that text to me is so funny. It's just so, what do you mean, no matter what the situation? Like this, it's just so funny. Like the way it's worded is just like, in no situations can you tribute. Like even when I'm cheating, I cannot tribute. You know what I mean? Even when I'm stacking my deck, I can't tribute. In no situation. It's like, it's just so fun. It's like the wording of it is so like, it's like problem causing card text. You know what I mean? It's like the exact opposite. Shit is so funny. I love this card. It's really, really cool. And the Ultra First looks incredible. Old border. The gold names look classy. The foiling looks classy. And the silly text to boot. Doesn't get better than this. I actually think this card should be $100. This is like, I think it should be worth more. I think $60 is pretty cheap for a bomb sideboard card. Like top 5, top 10 sideboard card in Edison format. Max rarity. Silly text. Like historic printing. Very, very strong card. I think what's interesting is like people who don't play Edison format always look at Edison format. They're like, oh, Royal Oppression. And yeah, Royal Oppression's really good. Don't get me wrong. But like people who do play Edison format, they're like, man, Mask of Restrict. I don't want to see people flip Mask of Restrict. I can just do nothing when Mask is in play. So it's kind of funny to think about that. But yeah. All right, moving on. Mask of Restrict, $100 easy. I could see this max rarity being a lot more, honestly. I don't expect them printing a cooler version of Mask of Restrict anytime soon because that historic text is hilarious. I remember like in the anime, there was a duelist who used the mask cards. I forget. I think it was it the 2 people on the building who they just straight up murder? I don't even remember. But I think I remember seeing the cards as a kid and just being like, those are fucking sick. I have a lot of nostalgia when it comes to the mask cards. There was another one, Mask of Brutality. This one's one of my favorite cards. This has nothing to do with the Market Watch, but this card's gas. And then Mask of the Accursed. This card is hard as fuck. Monster equipped cannot attack. Controller must take 500 damage. That's so hard, dude. It just says just sit there. Mask of Remnants. I don't know if that was really around at the time of the anime, but Mask of the Accursed was. And then the Masked Beast Descardius. This card's fucking awesome. That card is so cool. What's the original printing of this card? I'm curious. Is it the special edition? Is it the Tactical Evolution special edition? Hold on. Descardius. Let's see. Speed Duel, Tactical Evolution, Speed Duel, 25th anniversary. Yeah. It only had 1 printing as a Tactical Evolution. Interesting card. It's an 8-star Dark Fiend, 3300 attack. I played it in Speed Duels. I wonder if it's possible to summon this in Edison format. What does it do? Must first be special summon your hand by tributing 2 monsters, including 1 Grand Tiki Elder or Melchid the 4-face beast. If this card is sent from the field or graveyard, target 1 monster your opponent controls. Equip 1 Mask of Remnants from your deck to it. So it like snatch steals a monster when it dies. Yeah, this is unplayable. But it would be sick to pull it off. I mean, it's a cool card. And 3300 is a really good stat line. Runs over everything in Edison format, so that's pretty hype. All right, moving on. Let's look at Miracle Fertilizer. I don't know how many printings this has. That probably has a lot, right? Yeah, it has a lot. Never mind. Super rare one is going up a bit? Question mark? Yeah, it is going up a bit. Foil Miracle Fertilizers. Once again, super rare, man. It's just not... Just don't look that good. I don't know. I don't fucking know. What is like a really, really cool high-end card? Brownic. This guy goes in every deck, right? Dual Terminal. What are we looking at for this guy? Dual terminal. Holy shit, this card is reaching $200. God damn. That's crazy. I thought I was overpaying. I bought this like, I want to say like 2 years ago for like $90. I felt like I was getting scammed because they were going for like 20 before I started posting videos. Now they're 200. This is dumb. This is like, that's crazy. Supply and demand, I guess, but that's absolutely wild. I wonder if I'll have Justice Cadastre, because he's kind of the one that I think about. Dual terminal 1, only $13. So this guy's played as much as Bryonic is, arguably even more, and he's like $12. Interesting. What else is in dual terminal 1? Goyo Guardian, Mistworm. Yeah, like Goyo Guardian is really cheap too for the dual terminal. It's like $15. Doesn't make any sense. Why is the Bryonic so much more than the others? I guess it's played more than Mistworm and it's the ultra rare, so there's less of it. I don't know. Okay, X-Saber. X-Saber Fall Troll was one that I was going to check up on. It's $7, $8 for the rare. I think that's the lowest rarity. If we search it up, yeah, it is. I think a lot of the X-Sabers need reprints. I think the Synchros need reprints. This is kind of the Moneybags deck now, because even the Ultra Hyunlei is like 25. And the Gotams, well, Gotams is cheap. He just got the quarter century treatment. But like Fall Troll being like $7-8, that's like 24 for a set, and then 25 for your Hyunlei. And then I think Emmersblade only has 2 printings, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, one of them is dirt cheap though. Why is this so fucking cheap? That's crazy. It's only $1. He only has 2 printings. Bro, this card is, you need 3 of it to play X-Zipper. I guess X-Zipper is like tier 2, so like people don't really play it as much. That makes sense. They don't play it as much as like Blackwings. I want to check on the high-end Icarus attack, speaking of Blackwings. God damn, this card is expensive. $340 for a super rare? God. The Dark Revelation super rares do hit a little different. They do look very nice, but it's not even the only super rare Icarus attack. That card is gorgeous, though. Dual terminals going for about 8. Quarter century for about 8. Let's see. Gold series, gross. I mean, Icarus attack is cheap. It's less than $1. Got a platinum secret rare for less than $1. That's kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. It doesn't look as good as the... I think the quarter century Icarus attack goes pretty dumb. Man, I wish it had the secret rare lettering. But I actually love the foiling. Like, the foiling looks really cool on Icarus attack. Like, the way that artwork is with, like, the flames and then, like, the sparkles on the flames looks fucking sick. Like, really makes the card pop. Like, generally, like, the foiling on the super rare Icarus attack does look nice. You know, it just looks classy. But, like, if you want a fucking sparkly ass looking card that looks good, the quarter century Icarus attack might be one of the prettiest. Yeah, it might be one of the best looking. I think that might be the best looking quarter century rare I've seen. Something about that color scheme and that artwork works really well with the foiling. That looks very nice. Very, very pretty. How much are the Blackwing cards? I know that they're like randomly expensive. Value's expensive. Super rare Siroko's. Dude, you could never convince me that a super rare should be worth $200. That's fucking crazy, man. It's a super rare. It's not even an ultra rare, bro. It's barely even rare. You know what I'm saying? It's not a secret rare. It's not a fucking Starlight rare. It's not a dual terminal. It's not Starfoil. It's nothing. It's just like a little bit of shine on it. It might as well be a common as far as I'm concerned. Yikes, dude. Yikes. Let's go back to the Blackwing page. You could not convince me that a super rare Sirocco is worth that much. Especially when you can get a super rare one right here for $18. And it's exactly the same. Like, okay. It's not even like the old border. It's not even the old border Sirocco. It's like the new old border. like the post Edison era border for the super. So it doesn't even look like it belongs, you know what I mean? Now this shit's fucking crazy. $100 dual terminal Bora. I mean, based and deserved. I think dual terminal rarity deserves this level of praise, but that's psychopathic. Nobody's spending $100 on that. Those aren't selling. People maybe spend $20, $25 on a dual terminal Bora. All right, speaking of $20, $25, Starlight Rare Blackwing Armor Master. $30, 27. What the fuck? These look great. These look so good. I cannot believe this is so low. I know it has the quarter century rare though. So that might be part of the reason why it's so low. But damn, I mean, that's a Starlight rare, dude. Those are like, what, one per case? One every other case? I'm not sure exactly the pull rates on them, but I think it's one per case you get a Starlight. Like, it's not even one per box. It's like one per case. That's a very rare card for a very low price. And it's a very highly played card. There's an Ultimate Rare, of course. It's competing with a lot of other stuff. The Ultimate Rare, the Starfoil prize card. Prize card's obviously going to have an appeal, but like, the fact that the ultra rare from Crimson Crisis is worth as much as like 2 ultra rares is one of the Starlight rares, that's crazy to me. Especially the Starlight rare looks good. That shit looks gas. People do prefer the old borders though, for sure. They recently had the quarter century Vayu. Looks kind of mid. Quarter century Kalut. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the effect monster border with the quarter century foiling. I think I mentioned that already. The Gale looks okay though. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. If they printed a Bora, it'd be going to the moon. Kappa. It'd be like the DT ones. All right, moving on. That's the Blackwing stuff. Let's look at Reiko. So Reiko's been hit by a million reprints, right? The highest rarity, people will argue, is the super rare from Light of Destruction. Super rare near mint is about $6, and super rare first edition is about $20. That's totally fair. I think that's what Reiko should be worth. I also think Reiko's kind of like one of those cards that, if my deck's playing it, I'm pretty reluctant to play it. I don't like this card very much. In general, I think flip effects are very... I think like people have this aversion to battle recruiters. I personally don't have that aversion to battle recruiters, but I do have that aversion to flip effects. And I don't know what it is, but like, you're telling me my deck plays a card that has to be set first? That's terrible. That's ass. I don't want to play that unless that effect is insane. It needs to be like some fucking crazy... Like, okay. How do I explain this? Like, if I set a Shining Angel and my opponent attacks it, I can get a DD Warrior Lady, I can get a Cyber Valley, I can draw 2 cards, I can get a Dimensional Alchemist, add back any banished card. I can like there's so much that my card can do. It can give me so many different toolboxes and variety. It's like a whole ass tutor. It guarantees me whatever I need if someone attacks it. If I set a flip effect monster and my opponent attacks it, that effect, it gives me that effect and nothing else. And like the Reiko effect is decent. Like blow up any card in mill 3 is a pretty strong effect. That's a pretty strong effect, right? But and Reiko's like on the high end of like flip effects worth playing in their era. But man, just having to set it, like at least Shining Angel, you can summon an attack with it and it'll still get the effect. Like this is like a bad comparison because Shining Angel is like one of the best recruiters in Edison format. It has the most options. But even something like Pyramid Turtle, well, I guess Pyramid Turtle has a lot of options too. Even something like UFO Turtle, like if someone attacks my UFO Turtle, I'm getting a Lone Fire Blossom directly into play and I'm winning the game. Whereas like someone attacks my Reiko, I pop something and I mill 3. Like that's fine. But like that's it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like UFO Turtle is just so... The flip effect monsters rely on your opponent not only doing nothing, but also committing. So they have to commit and do nothing for you to get the pluses off the flip effect monsters, or the flip effect has to give you a +1 somehow when it's flip face up. Like Reiko has to mill a wolf if it's attacked to give you like a raw +1. So Yeah, I don't know. I think this card is going to get, like, you're going to see less and less of this card in Edison format. Good. Honestly, fuck flip effects. They're all bitch-made ass cards. Fuck Hamster. I hate that card so much. I actually hate Hamster. I think the worst part of Edison format, and, like, dude, everyone in the format's going to tell you, oh, it's deck dev, oh, it's Blackwings, oh, it's Substitute, oh, it's Trap Dustshoot, oh, Future Fusion, Brain Control. Everyone's going to complain about those things. I think the worst part of Edison format is that Hamster and Reiko are legal. And so that when you attack a turn 1 set, it's like the best things to attack a Reiko are the worst things to attack a Hamster and vice versa. If there was just no Hamster in the format, it would be a perfect format. I fucking hate Hamster Reiko. And it's like not even good. It's not even good. It just creates 50-50s. That it's like not even good. It's just skillless 50-50s where it's like you can't know. There's no like determination behind it. It's just a Hamster Reiko paradigm, and it's cringe. It's honestly cringe. And the cards are ass. Like oftentimes your opponent will get the plus and you'll just be like, man, this is annoying, and then you'll still win anyway because flip effects are ass. But like, man, it's just annoying. You know what I mean? It's like it annoys me more than anything else. Some people are annoyed by like Dragon Turbo or like Milling Wolves or whatever. I'm just annoyed that people still play flip effects in my favorite format. Man, don't you want to attack? What is a bitch made flip effect shit? That is so cringe, bro. It's so cringe. Anyway, moving on. What else we got? What else is in Edison format? I have to go through my deck builder. Gigaplant. Not even $1. Fucking shit. Dark Arm Dragon. I was looking at Dark Arm Dragon the other day. It has a bunch of prints. The quarter century's up to 110. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it looks like shit. How is the quarter century worth more than the original secret rare? That doesn't make any fucking sense. The original secret rare clears by a mile. That actually makes me mad. How is this the case, but then like the Starlight, like better rarity Armor Master is worth like $20, $30. Even the Ghost Rare Dark Arm Dragon clears the quarter century by like a mile. Look, this actually looks pretty clean. I've always wanted one of these. But I don't really play Dark Arm that much in paper. I'm more of an Archlord Christia guy, speaking of which. Let's go check on that guy. I heard the quarter century Christia is going up a bit too. Maybe I heard wrong. Oh, it is. A little bit. It's up from like 50 to 53 to 60 now. Ew. I'm gonna be honest. There's like 8 rarities of Christia that look better. Maybe I should have done this also with like eBay. Let me see if I can get eBay pulled up here. Hold on. Let me see. If I can get eBay pulled up, then that'd be pretty cool. Okay, let's do it. What was I looking up again? Oh, Archlord Christia Japanese. That's what I wanted to look up. So there is, let me pull this tab up for you guys. There we go. Okay. Look at this Christia. Can you guys see that all right? Let's see. Just check on OBS. Yeah, you guys can see that all right. Especially if I see if I can make it bigger. There we go. That looks really nice. That looks really clean, right? Really, really drippy. And it's like, you know, this isn't the only listing, but it's roughly $20 to $30 for like a really drippy one. Even like with all the import and everything, that's really drippy. And then like you could even get the collector's rare one, which down here you can kind of see a little bit of a, and I've shown it on camera before, and the texturing on it is gorgeous. You can get some really nice Christias, and especially with the RBET Chicago specifically. RBET Las Vegas won't have this roll as far as I know. Still working on it actually happening, but the Chicago, RBET Chicago, I don't know if you guys have seen the, let me see if I can even pull this up. Also, hold on, give me 1 second. RBET Chicago. Here we go. There we go. I'll show you this. There we go. Cool. RBET Chicago has an OCG rule, which is you can play a fully OCG main deck and side deck. That is allowed. So with major events like RBET now offering the option to use OCG decks, and then also OCG extra deck cards are completely allowed, even in TCG main and side. The reason we're not doing OCG mixed with TCG is because they have a different back on the card or something like that. I don't really remember, but we just don't want to get anyone like complaining about that. But if you like the OCG cards, or you're from Korea or Japan or China and you want to play with your OCG cards at RBET Chicago, that's totally allowed. As long as they're not mixed together, as long as it's not OCG and TCG in the same main and side. As long as it's just either all OCG or all TCG. And then the extra deck is completely whatever. But given this, you know, I mean, like part 2 of the Market Watch is going to be OCG stuff, I think. Like there's a lot of really cool OCG cards that just look amazing. Like X Saber Hyunrei, Japanese, and you can find the ultimate rares for quite cheap. I mean, like $13.50, and they look incredibly good. So I expect to see some people bring some really cool, like look at this secret rare Urbellum. That looks really clean too. I expect to see some people at Chicago bringing their really swagged out OCG decks. And I think that one of the coolest decks to swag out in OCG is fairies. So like this Christia, or the Honest Yu-Gi-Oh! Japanese Ultimate, something like that. They have an Ultimate Rare Honest, which looks fucking phenomenal. Man, does no one know how to take a picture with some goddamn good lighting? Jesus fuck Christ. This one might have some decent lighting. I don't know. We'll see. You can kind of get an idea of it. It looks really, really good. They look good. Or the Honest, Ghost Rare, Japanese. These look even. They blow away the English Honests, and they are significantly cheaper. Like the fucking foiling just looks immaculate on these. Like I don't even know how to describe it. So like I feel like it'd be a really cool time to showcase like a fully OCG. There's a Dimensional Alchemist that's super rare. That's Japanese as well, and they look super duper clean. There's just a lot of like really cool cards. So I mean, with upcoming events allowing OCG cards, I personally, and this is like my personal thing, but obviously it has to be cleared with a lot of people and like fair play and like judges and all that stuff, and we have to adopt policy so that it makes it okay. But I personally would just say, fuck it, we should just be allowed to play OCG and TCG together. But as of right now, this is the rule we're going with, and it will allow you to show off OCG cards. I mean, and also same thing like with some of these other cards that we're talking about being reprinted. Magical Android Japanese. Let's see how inexpensive this card is in Japanese. Oh, it's like $5, maybe even less. You could probably get it for less. No, it's about the same actually. $6. Yeah, $5-6. So Magical Android is going for like $18 in English. You can get one in Japanese for like $5, and then your extra deck is less expensive. And same thing maybe with Black Brutdrago, Japanese. Let's see if there's like one of these. Yeah, it's like $3.99. It's like fucking a few dollars. And at specifically RBET Chicago, you will be allowed to use OCG extra deck cards. So, you know, if you don't want to spend $1 bajillion on a deck, then these are really, really nice looking OCG cards. And I actually think the Japanese print is significantly better than the English print, or any of the European prints even. And I've showcased this in like a recent video where I compared the OCG printing to the Euro printing to the NA printing. And by far the worst printing is the NA printing. The Euro printing has more texture, more dexterity, especially with regards to ultimate rares, but the OCG printings is always like, it's the top. And there's some really, really cool ones. Another card that I think looks amazing, Stardust Dragon, Ultimate Japanese. Let's see if we can see one of these. These look fucking nuts. Like, they look incredible. Hold on. Fucking click the thing, bruh. There we go. You guys can kind of see. They look really, really good. And the stamp on them is so clean. And like, look at this. You can get it for what, $36? Like, for RBET Chicago, you want to show off some cool cards? These are the sickest cards to show off. That's my opinion. I'm not really sure what else there is to look at for the Market Watch. I usually forget something, and the comment section lets me know forever. I know Dark End Dragon recently got reprinted. I know there's a few other things that recently got reprinted. I don't even know. Maybe there's some sideboard cards. Chain Disappearance, I noticed recently, was a little bit expensive for the super rare. Yeah, the super rare Chain Disappearance is more expensive than I remember it being, but it says it's down. So it must have like gone up then came down or something. I don't know. That was a card I was looking at recently because I play this card a lot now. I think against like the Fishborg decks, the Debris Dragon decks, you just like kind of smoke them with this card. This is a card I used to side like in 2010, and then I stopped siding it because Frog decks went to 3 enemy controller and I kept getting cheesed. And they were also playing Book of Moon as well. But now Frog decks are playing less enemy controller and 0 Book of Moon, and Chain Disappearance just smokes them. So plus Chain Disappearance can hit like, oh, you hit a Dupe Frog and then it rips their hand. Hello, you get to see their hand. What the fuck? This card is mental. It's like actually so broken. Like, oh, you summon fucking Substitoad, you summon Unifrog, I'll banish your Unifrog. Now out my mask. Good luck. It's just like one of those like catch-all cards. Oh, let me just rip the Debris Dragon from your hand and from the one from your field, or rip the Dandelion from your field and from your deck or whatever. It's just a nasty card, really, really nasty card. Like for example, like your opponent will summon Deep Sea Diva and you'll flip Chain Disappearance. You'll banish both the Diva from their deck and from their field, and the one that you know that they drew because you always draw double Diva, right? So that is a pretty nasty card. I actually think that this card is super underrated, especially because a lot of people are like playing around bottomless, so they'll like try to weak monster you to death, just banish all their Vayus. That's kind of nice. It also works like there's not many back row that are like pretty decent into chaining into Reiko. This one they flip Reiko, they target your back row because they usually target back row with Reiko and then target monster with Kaias. The Reiko will target the back row and then you just chain Disappearance, banish all their Reikos, and check their hand too, which is pretty fucking strong. Very, very, very underrated card, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up though. I've talked about a lot of different things in this video. I'm sure that there's something I'm forgetting. There's gotta be. There's always like, there are just too many cards to go through, and like, man, why? I hate when you search Dark End Dragon. It like just brings up like fucking Red Nova Dragon. Nothing says Dark or End in it. Just says Attribute Dark. That's it. It's like, what? That's not what I wanted at all. Oh, a quarter century Dark End Dragons. Yeah, $10. Yeah, they tanked. I'm trying to think what else there is that is weirdly expensive. Let me scroll through the Discord real quick and then we'll just do like a quick little test and see. Saber Zombies, Flamvel, man. Quick Draw. Elemental Hero Gaia, maybe? Is that a card that needed a reprint? No, it's $1. Is there anything in Dragon Turbo? Darkfire Dragon, maybe? I don't know. Oh yeah, Darkfire Dragon's a few bucks if you're looking for that sort of thing. How much is Super Rejuvenation? That card's been printed a bunch, right? I imagine it's been printed a bunch. Yeah, it's pennies. Amaryllis. Well, we talked about Amaryllis already. Absolute Zero. That's kind of a big card in the format. $6 for the common. $6 for a super. Yeah, pretty affordable. This Secret Rare one looks kind of clean. Battles of Legends Chapter 1. I actually think that might be my favorite one. Yeah, the Secret Rare one looks the best. Secret Rare or the Ultra or the Quarter Century. The Quarter Century looks cool because like the way the foiling is like flat, works kind of better with his art. But the Secret Rare looks cleaner because of the name. The white name on it is really drippy. The white silver name. I think that's the only one that has the white silver name. Yeah, that to me is the cleanest. That looks really cool. Damn. All right. Sick Absolute Zero, fam. Deck Devastation Virus. Krebins. I guess we could look at some high-end Krebins. I don't fucking know. Krebins was really popular at the turn of the year. But the Super Rares, it didn't really move the needle all that much. They're actually down. in February. Yeah, they were up in November because they were like kind of crushing it at tournaments, and then they're just like back down again. I just think that this deck isn't that popular. I don't know why, but it just isn't that popular. I think like Telezombies and Teledad are like about as strong as like Vayu Turbo in a lot of cases. The only difference, and like the only like measurable difference between those two decks, in my opinion, is that Vayu Turbo gets to utilize Burial better, and it gets to utilize Oppression, which obviously is a huge difference. Don't get me wrong, it's a huge difference. But I think like on a raw 1-to-1 power level, the Teledad, Telezombies decks are probably about as good or slightly better than like the Vayu Turbo's like raw power level, if we're not factoring in Burial and Royal Oppression. But we have to factor those in, right? Like that's kind of like the whole point of the discussion. But yeah, I do think the Teledad decks are incredibly strong, like really, really strong. Kind of struggle with the plant matchup, but especially with the Ancient Sacred Wyvern tech that's been going around. Actually, we should look up that card. Oh shit, dude, I totally forgot. Ancient Sacred Wyvern needs a reprint. This is a card that needs a reprint because you play it in Teledad. You make it with Mind Master and Caius, or Mind Master and Malicious, and you just kill people. This card has created so many OTKs for me. It's crazy. Yeah, crazy deck, or crazy card. Needs a reprint, and probably the Parshath guy needs a reprint too. Avenging Knight, yeah, the common one is like $10. So once again, once a common starts to hit about $10, that's usually when it's like, okay, this card needs a reprint. Now that I'm thinking about like other synchros, I know Light End Dragon. This card doesn't see a lot of play. And it probably won't even pull up. Same thing with Dark End Dragon. God damn it. Secret R1 looks really gorgeous. It doesn't see a lot of play. You can't really make it that easily. You can only make it in specifically like Soul of Purity and Light decks. Really. But this card's good. The reason you use it, it's like a very niche reason, but the reason you use it is it gets over JD, whereas Avenging Knight Parshath doesn't get over JD. So that's the reason you use Light End Dragon. So if you have like Herald plus Sopal, it's so stupid because the situation is so specific. You have to have not had the Herald in your hand, and then you had to top deck it, special Sopal, summon the Herald, synchro into Light End, and then out the JD. Because if you had the Herald in the hand, you could have just negated the JD or whatever. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, interesting stuff. The game overall remains incredibly affordable. I think that that's a good sign for 2025. I think it's a good sign for new players as well. It's like a pretty low barrier to entry. Your cost of your deck is going to be like $50, $100. $50 to $100. I think it's going to be the cost of most competitive decks. And while that's not cheap, right? That's like it's like a nice dinner out. You know what I mean? A nice dinner out in a movie or something like that. It's still more affordable, much more affordable than modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like if we're looking at modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, we go to this card, Fiendsmith. You need a set of this to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is the high rarity. Let's go to the mid rarity. Here we go. You need a set of this guy to play modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And the English ones are $65. So just two of these alone would get you an entire Edison deck and get you playing. So way cheaper than modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Continues to be a scam. I don't know why people play it. It's fucking... The game's like fine, mid to fine to kind of bad. I do keep up with it just because I have a couple friends who play it, and so like I'll watch matches and I'll watch the DB Grinder because, you know, he's always doing some cool shit. Like he's always covering some matches that look kind of hype, and it's kind of just like slop content that I thoroughly enjoy. But it's like not better than Edison. Like it's not like, and it's definitely not worth shit, man. You know what's crazy is like it's at the point where like even if you bought a deck and won a YCS, your YCS, like winning the YCS would not cover the cost of your deck alone, let alone the trip, the stay, like the weekend that it takes, all of the time you spent testing, like, and it doesn't even get you anything. Like, there's no, like when you win a Pokemon regional, you get an invite to Worlds, and Worlds in Pokemon is fucking awesome. From what I've heard, Worlds in Yu-Gi-Oh is mid. So it's just like, it doesn't even get you anything, man. It's like you're spending thousands to win hundreds. It's fucking stupid. And then you're just throwing away money. And the game's like not even that good. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.